Okay, here we go. Focus. I am speed. 1 winner, 5 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. I'm faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am slime. So I made a thing. As you've probably gathered from the title and thumbnail, these little guys are slimes. Yeah, like Minecraft splitting, Stardew mining, Ben Bonk stealing slimes. Love you, Ben Bonk. And I made a program where you can watch them race. Now, before we see them race or hear about how they ended up with emotions, let's talk about how this project started, because it was never meant to be a slime racing project at all. In fact, it originated as a slime breeding project. Okay, I recognize that sounds weird, but hear me out. I love idle games. Games like Chillquarium or the Norp Apolog, where you're just upgrading and expanding your collection of little guys that do little guy things, whether that be through breeding and raising fish or waging an all-out war on a rock with suspicious motives. These games are super fun to me for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm bad at video games, and unlocking a big upgrade for my Norps gives me the same dopamine hit that I'm sure you'd get from getting a victory royale or however people have fun in League, without actually having to put in the effort to get good at a video game. And number two, heck you, what do you want from me? So I originally set out to make a game with 2 things in mind: cute and fun little guys, and upgrade-based progression. So that's how this original game concept came into being. This is Slime Farm, and as you can see, there's some cute and fun little guys. Now, you may notice a distinct lack of upgrade-based progression, and for those eagle-eyed game devs out there, you'll also probably notice an entire lack of UI, or functional gameplay, or finished artwork, or finalized material. The game never got finished. Surprise, surprise, the indie dev started another project without finishing it. Who could have seen that coming? So what you're left with is just these little fellas that spawn in and jump around, and that's about it. The cool thing is, if one of these slimes randomly comes into contact with another 3 times in a row, they become mates. Like friend mates. And then another slime gets summoned from the power of their platonic love. This slime literally just averages out the colors of its elder friends and becomes that color. And then in the original gameplay loop, you could check its stats and sell it if it was good. Now, this is where all of this comes together and the reason I'm telling you about the project at all. Each slime at spawn would generate its own set of stats: jump height, speed, time between jumps, and its tendency to move towards other slimes, all based on its randomly selected emotion it gets when it spawned. These include depressed slime, raging slime, happy slime, chill slime, and a bunch of others, each affecting its slime how you would generally expect. A depressed slime would jump less frequently and have shorter jumps, while a raging slime would jump very frequently and quickly and try to target other slimes. Now, after implementing all this, I found myself just sitting there and watching these guys jump around. It was fun to run the program and try to guess which had which emotion and just see where they would go. So I decided to give them somewhere to go. It originally started with me just expanding this tank and letting them run around, but then I figured, why not make it a game? I added in a finish line, some obstacles, got rid of the tank assets and made it black and white, and pressed play. The result had me and my friends all watching them and picking our favorite slimes in hopes they would win. Literally just horse racing, but arguably more ethical. Now, during the process of turning it into an obstacle course, I had originally decided to make it so they were all just regular happy slimes, so each one would have a fair chance of making it to the end first. But after some thinking, I thought it would be really funny to make it so there was a small chance of each slime changing its emotion at the start of the race. Now, in some cases, this was super unfair. For example, after the race would start, you could immediately tell which slime was depressed because it would just sit there jumping and waiting for the race to be over, which I think is the most relatable thing I've ever seen come out of a random number generator. But the real fun is when the other emotions are picked. If you remember, the raging slime would try to target other slimes, giving an obvious advantage/disadvantage based on where the other slimes are at, either leaping forward and giving a boost to the slime ahead of it, or intentionally sabotaging itself to fling an opponent backwards. This gave it just the right amount of chaos to make it genuinely exciting, with something new happening every time you'd watch. Now, I had originally planned to leave the project there, and I did for a while, but something about it kept bringing me back. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and think of something I should add to the slime races. But you have work in the morning, I'd think to myself. There are other projects you should be working on, but eventually, the slimes won out. So I added a leaderboard and multiple cameras and different maps and special obstacles, and I even gave a little crown to the winner. And in fact, I could give a little crown to you as well. All you gotta do is be an epic plasma gamer, and this suspicious blob could be your head. Wait, you don't know what an epic plasma gamer is? Well, it's only the closest to royalty you can get without any of the power or status that comes with it. All you gotta do is click the subscribe button and ring that bell, and you can be exempt from the real-life slime races I intend to create once I secure the funding. And I promise you, you would like to be exempt. The first thing I decided to add was this leaderboard. It tracks how many wins each slime has, as well as their best times. This is mainly just for fun, because if you leave the simulation running long enough, all the stats will eventually just even out, because unlike life, the slime races are actually fair. I then went on to make some different obstacle types, just to keep the slimes on their toes. For example, there's this trap box that can only be accessed from the top, so if a slime happens to fall into it, they'll be stuck there until they die. Tragic, I know, but I'm gonna move on. Another obstacle type is the spinning thing. It has a couple different types that it will choose between when the map is loaded in. The regular spinning thing and the bouncing spinning thing of doom. Regular spinning thing just needs the slimes to go under it or over it to get past, but the bouncy spinning thing of doom will launch slimes away from it on contact, which can be a huge help launching you to the end, or terrible launching you back to the start. There's also a bug that happens sometimes where a slime will get caught between the ground and the bouncy thing, causing Unity's collision to bug out and launching the slime out of the map. I couldn't get it to happen while trying to record, but if you want to see that, I plan on live streaming some of the slime races soon after this video goes up, so make sure to subscribe to get in on the action. And the final set of obstacles is just generally difficult platforming, like going up these stairs or through small gaps. Just really difficult tests of the slime's skill. And now, here's the finished product. I'll let this race play out so you can get a good idea of how this all works, but you can see the camera up here is in automatic mode, so it'll just switch between different slimes at random intervals to give you a close-up view of the action. I can also put it into manual mode and just pick which slimes I want to watch. The bottom view is the full map, where you can see all the trails being made and get a good view of all the slimes. Then, obviously, the timer is up here. And finally, here's some cool boss music that you can find on our second channel, Plasma Studios Extras. All of it's made by us, so if you like it, go ahead and give some of the others a listen. So that's the slime races. From a slime-breeding idle game to a group of emotionally unstable racers trying to throw themselves through obstacles for our amusement. Truly one of the projects of all time. Again, make sure to subscribe and keep an eye out, because I'll be doing a live stream of the slime races here on the channel, and I'll be there to talk with chat and answer any questions anyone might have.